Welcome back to World of Warships and welcome aboard the Japanese Tier 8 cruiser, the Mogami, here on the map, Two Brothers. And it's been a while since I played World of Warships and even did a video on it, but I think now it's time. And it's not one of those German battleships, no. This is a Japanese cruiser. Funnily enough, in the beginning of World of Warships, when it was released, I played actually quite a lot of it, and I kind of liked some aspects of it. I disliked the really strange ones. Now, there is always this balancing factor that wargaming loves to play around with, and yeah, you can see here you have a lot of guns. Those are 9 guns in the front and 6 more in the back. However, there are the smallest caliber ones for a rather heavy cruiser. I mean, yeah, there are the British cruiser line, but they are quite different, aren't they? So, for what is supposed to be a heavy cruiser, 155mm guns are not the best. But, you know, the Mogami always was always easy on the eyes. I love the look of this ship and I love how it plays it. Now it is very fast. You can see breaching here 36 knots, no problem. However, you're a bit squishy, so you eat a lot of citadel damage if you give broadside to a cruiser or to a battleship especially. I mean, you are the wet dream of every battleship driver. I mean, even German ones, when they hit you, they will citadel you. And you have rather bad health for a tier 8 cruiser, especially stock. Upgraded, it's okay. And you know, I unlocked the 203mm when I stopped playing this ship, and I never went around to test it. I was kind of confused by the turret rotation speed, which is kind of the balancing factor of the ship. Previously it was, I guess, over 60 seconds for a 180-degree turn, which is just outright disastrous. You couldn't brawl. At long range it was okayish, but your range was also not, you know, outstanding, I guess. So yeah, now I think with the last patch it was buffed, so quite significantly. I don't quite remember the exact time, but it's around about 36 seconds if I remember correctly. And I also have expert marksman on this ship, so that gives me a faster turret rotation speed, which greatly helps. Furthermore, for my commander, I also have inertia fuse high explosive, and that is the key aspect why this is now considered to be a very, very strong ship indeed. First hit sets me on fire, you know, your average World of Warships RNG. The destroyer here eats a torpedo, and yeah, you can see the wall of skill here. I launched them beyond their range because the battleship came towards me, the Bayern, which is a magnificent battleship, but you should not really take it alone against half of our fleet. In the cruiser and battleship fire, even German excellence will succumb. So, and I tried to squeeze out as much damage as possible, but I did not really hit that hard. And now there is one of those ARP ships, which is basically yeah, a premium ship, a reward ship for I can't quite remember what it was. I'm not even sure if I have it. And now it gives broadsides, and I switched to AP. Even such low caliber AP will do tremendous amounts of damage to a broadside cruiser. Watch this. 5 citadels, 17,000 damage in one salvo. And I pull a Notzer, as some people love to call it, by trying to avoid the torps, which were quite inevitable. And I finish off my well, second kill already. Oh, that's something interesting. I tried to open up on the Scharnhorst, but you know, that's a tough nut to crack. And there is a Kutuzov. You always have to prioritize the Russians. They are highly dangerous in the right hands, and it must already said that the Kutuzov, if I'm not mistaken, it even has smoke. And yeah, very dangerous guns. I set him on fire here, and you know, at this point I thought to myself, well, if I die right now, it would have been an awesome battle. I launched an AP salvo, but just around about 5,000, nearly 6,000 damage, which is quite amazing. But back to the actual purpose of the ship. It has a lot of guns with a decent reload, and they have a good muzzle velocity and travel time. And then there is the caliber, 155 millimeters combined with IFHE, which is a rank 4 or tier 4 captain skill, allows you to penetrate a lot of deck armor and bow and stern armor of even battleships, and you can rip out amazing salvos if you manage to hit your salvos. And as you could see, you know how to do it when you see it for the first time. I still watch other YouTubers as well, even from the World of Warships branch, and I'm always interested in their opinions. I love to watch their gameplay, and you know, when you're in the queue time for realistic battles in War Thunder, I mean, it can take a while, especially for jets or even high tier tanks, especially at late night. So I have always a bit of time to kind of watch other YouTubers' videos. And yeah, this ship was always something that I wanted to make work, but I always, as I said, was kind of thrown back by the awful turret traverse speed. Why is the turret traverse speed such an important thing? Well, not so much on a battleship, except for the Germans, but you know, they are the masters of brawling. But for cruisers, you are always in the range of at least one battleship. And battleships, when they hit you, they hurt. Especially Americans and Japanese ones, when they hit you, they tend to citadel you. And you don't want to get citadeled, especially with the low amount of health, and so on and so on. I have no repair party consumable, and I think even if, you know, this is citadel damage, you can recover like 10% of it. So when you eat 3 citadels, you're dead. So now I actually went back into our original capture zone, and well, I tried to find this destroyer. And this is what the Mogami excels at: chewing up destroyers. And also, just to saturate the area with high explosive shells, I watch where his shots come out of the smoke screen that this destroyer has laid, and I try to just, you know, pepper this area and to decap him. And finally we get 3 penetrating hits, and we decap him quite a bit. Now, then there is this Bismarck. He's on low health. I have to prioritize them. You know, he's a battleship. If he swings his guns around and gets a good salvo into me, I'm done. So it's quite a little bit tricky to hit a ship properly at this kind of angle. Now, at this moment, I made a little bit of a mistake by actually not trying to decap the destroyer again. But, you know, shiny battleships. What can you do? It's just a cruiser thing to just pepper them with high explosive because, you know, skill. Yeah. And that was a nice salvo. As I said, when you manage to hit them, you tend to burn them. And then there is a Cleveland. And this Cleveland is, well, it's a lower, it's a rank, how to say it, it's a tier 6 version of you. Back in the days, the Cleveland was just completely overpowered before they nerfed it into the ground in comparison to what it once was. So yeah, and I always try to actually stay at range. You can see the skills. I'm targeted by 1 target, and I try to keep the distance to this Colorado. And that is a very dangerous ship. If he gets a broadside into you, you know, as a tier 7 battleship with those 406mm guns, they really hurt. American AP does the job. But now I'm in a fight with this Cleveland, and you know, this Cleveland is... I'm not quite sure if I should switch to AP or not, but I trust into the HE skill, so to speak, because angling doesn't matter, and yada yada yada. And you can see those salvos, they actually do the job, and those are not even full broadsides of mine, just the front 3 turrets, and I set them on fire. And I already have 90,000 damage dealt. That's quite something, especially for a cruiser. Not so outstanding in my Bismarck and Tirpitz, but I played them for, I guess, hundreds of battles, and I know how to, you know, do well in them. Also, battleships, if you have a good salvo on a cruiser, you just can rip them apart with one good salvo. So high damage numbers for battleships, in my opinion, when I personally drive them, are not that outstanding. If the battleship is good. I mean, there are especially the tier 6 ones. Oh my god. Tier 6 battleships are the creme de la creme. There is the Love, the Life, the Fuso, the Japanese tier 6 one. Then there's also the New Mexico, the American tier 6 one. Not so good, but still is a true dreadnought. Whereas the Fuso is the long range devastator. Then there's the British one, the Warspite. It has style. Not the most competitive, but still pretty good. I actually featured a game of this one. And there is my 4th kill. 100,000 damage dealt. And then there is, of course, the German Bayern. And I made a kill compilation with a good song for it. And I highly recommend to look it up and watch it. It was an amazing time grinding the Scharnhorst, which I never played because I skipped it. So, I actually now try to engage the Colorado, but yeah, he's quite out of range. So I'm not quite sure if I managed to go to him. But that's not the point. Our team is now in the lead. I've done a fair share amount of damage and support for my team. At the moment I was nearly in range, but then the Colorado got deleted, and for a brief moment I spotted the destroyer, which was the last player on the enemy team, and now for the rest of the battle we try to hunt him down. But he has one, you know, pure skill, which is smoke. So I actually did hear the bad thing of firing a full salvo, although 3 hits, and before I could properly aim, he slowed down. But again, the salvo is on the way, he smoked up, and still a hit. So I tried to still hit him in the smoke like previously. By the way, that seems to be the same destroyer. So overall, when cruisers are awesome, they are awesome to play. You wiggle around, try to avoid the battleship shells, you try to stay at your maximum gun range and try to pepper them with HE. In the proper situations, you switch to AP, trying to delete enemy cruisers with citadel spreads like on this other Japanese premium ARP cruiser previously. And so it's a dance. You try to hunt down destroyers, but you always have to be aware of your enemy battleship friends, because you give broadside once in the wrong moment and they just wait. They just wait for you to do that mistake. And yeah, it's kind of unforgiving. Although as a seasoned battleship player, I can tell you, cruisers also wait for you to get in range, and that is not really that nice for your battleship, because you burn. And now, there he is again. I turn to the side to bring the middle turret to bear, and yes, there it is. 5th kill, Kraken unleashed, and Confederate in one game is always nice. 230,000 silver, 2,184 experience, 110 free experience, 105,000 damage dealt in a tier 8 cruiser. For me, certainly that was a good game. 5 ships killed, 5 citadels in 1 salvo, and even my secondaries did some damage. What about the rest of the post-war stats? Well, let's look it up. Here you can see Confederate is quite an achievement, and Kraken is just simply 5 kills. They also give you additional experience flags. And I was first in team with 2,184 points, score points so to speak. And for detailed report, 90,000 damage dealt with HE, but 27,000 with AP, and yeah, 14,000 with fire. So it's not that much of a fire starter, despite me having Demolition Expert to reduce the negative effect to my fire chance from IFHE. So that's the Mogami. I really love this ship, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you liked the commentary. Give this video a like if you did. Subscribe if you want to see more, and maybe we'll see each other someday again on the waves of World of Warships.